Hello there, UTs. Welcome back to my channel. Love of Fragrance. I would like to inform you that I am so appreciative of all of my new subscribers. Thank you so much for tuning into my channel and subscribing and commenting on my videos. I really do appreciate it, and I thank you very much regarding that. But today I have a video in reference to blended fragrances. Yes, you heard me right. Blended fragrances. The reason why I want to touch on this subject matter is because I have discovered that on many occasions when I'm out and I apply a fragrance, I'm not content with the functionality of the fragrance and my anticipation of the fragrance. A lot of times I'm kind of let down in reference to my fragrances. Not that they are not substantial, not that they are not quality merchandise or they're beneficial to me, but it's predominantly because of the fact that I am utilizing the fragrances, and I am wearing the fragrances appropriately, I apply them appropriately, but for some reason I anticipate them to be more effective than they are. In other words, of course they're going to evaporate, of course they're going to expire, of course the longevity isn't permanent, but I'm not content with the fact that if I'm going to be out like 6 hours, I really expect for my fragrance to be substantial for maybe 6 hours, maybe even more. But I know they don't even list that as far as longevity in the description of the fragrances. But sometimes if you get a nice quality, hard, solid, a compactful fragrance that's going to substantiate and has excellent durability applied to it, you will have some assurance in reference to your fragrance, assisting you with that staying power and durability of your expectations on many occasions. But in order for me to find a resolution to the evaporation and the lack of sustainability of my fragrance, I discovered that many women have a tendency to do this, and I'm not the only one. I have, of course, loved ones that I recommend that they do this as well, because I love smelling excellent, I love smelling well, I love the fact of having a pleasant aroma applied to my body. Not just sometimes, actually all the time, because it's something that I appreciate. It's something that was instilled in me as a youth, and I have always appreciated fragrances, and I love the application process. I love the scents and aromas that project themselves from the fragrances, and just a love of fragrance. I always have been, and I appreciate them, but I would love to be able to share my fragrances and have the sustainability be extensive, much more extensive than what I am currently experiencing. In other words, what I have decided to do regarding that was to actually blend my fragrances. In other words, I take two fragrances and I incorporate them together. But the two fragrances that, is based on your aspirations for what your expectations are in reference to the longevity and sustainability of your fragrance and what you aspire to achieve with your fragrances. Today, I'm going to introduce you to several fragrances that I feel has those capabilities to be consolidated together, blended together, and it's going to make you real proud, honey. Make you real proud. When you go out, you're gonna have no worries. No worries. And to start out with, the first two I've selected happens to be Mrs. Mr. Ted Baker and Vince Camuto. Mr. Vince Camuto. Yes, two Misters. I want you to understand that this one right here has some really durable, some endurance with it, but it's much more of a earthy, a harder fragrance. Not super hard, but to some extent it's not very it's feminine, but not excessively feminine. However, you take Camuto and you will discover that it has many more soft notes applied to it, and you may find it to be a lot more feminine than the Ted Baker. And what I generally do, I would take the one that I classify that has the more dominant notes applied to it, like the Ted Baker. And this particular fragrance, you're going to find that it has some floral, some bergamot, and some cassie in the top notes. And the middle notes are orange blossoms, jasmine, and roses. Roses happen to be the most delicate note in this particular description of notes here. And the base notes are amber, which is pretty gentle, but not so much. And it has patchouli and sandalwood and vanilla. And I love some vanilla, but we all know that vanilla can be very, very potent. And when we compare it with Vince Camuto, you'll find Vince Camuto, they classified as being intoxicating, but it's a gentle, soft intoxication. And it has, its top notes consist of rum, aromanthus, and nectar. Those are fairly minimal type notes. And then the middle notes are opulent floral roses and night jasmine with a little bit hint of leather applied to it. And the base notes are vanilla, patchouli, Brazilian amber, and musk. Okay, when you take these two and you consolidate them together, you will have a gentle, more softer base fragrance, and it's more I appreciate them both. I love them both independently. But the purpose of doing this happens to be, with this particular fragrance, I would pour it with the harder fragrance and the stronger, more dominating fragrance. I would apply to the lower extremities of my body, like maybe my armpits, or maybe gently underneath my arm. Not under my armpit, but underneath it, but here on the base on my wrist right here, under my arms, and maybe on my back of my legs or something, or somewhere in my lower extremities. And that would give me more alluring effect throughout the day for my lower extremities. And then when I consolidate the softer fragrance with it, I would put it on my upper extremities, like around here on the sides of my neck and the sides of my ears, and maybe even on the top of my shoulder, so I can get a whiff of the softness as well. And you would notice that since you have these two fragrances consolidated on your body, the aroma is going to flow upwards. And as it began to flow upwards, you get the opulence of both fragrances consolidated together. In other words, you get the alluring scents, the aroma exuberating itself as it began to expire in your body. And having the two together, it's going to sustain the longevity. In other words, you're doubling the length of your fragrances on your body. But make sure you have two fragrances that you really, really, really love, and that you really can pair together. And it's going to give you the sweetness, the gentleness, the sustainability, the boldness, the endurance of what you anticipate you should be acquiring from your fragrances, and you will find them much more beneficial. Okay, moving on to the next set. My next fragrances that I would like to introduce you to also are, I love Miss SJP. Happens to be Miss SJP and Nightella. Many individuals probably have never heard of Nightella, but I have a lotion in this here particular fragrance, and it's so potent. If you were to just put the lotion on, it's sweet and it's gentle, but it's strong, and you will discover that this particular fragrance right here in the lotion will be like a second layer of skin, and it would be very durable throughout the day. But Miss SJP, see, it's much more, has much more strength, boldness, endurance, and I guess the wearability that you would anticipate in a harder, more earthy, strong fragrance, Miss SJP. Okay, and the reason that you have that is because of the notes in it. It has more earthy notes that consist of fresh grapefruits, black pepper, sage. That's the top notes now. And the middle notes consist of cedar, patchouli, ginger, lily, and pistachios. And the base notes are woody, vetiver, and musk. See, those are bold, hard, solid, durable notes that give its exceptional potence, okay? And then with the Nutella, you've compared the notes. These are more gentle notes. It's fused with red vanilla, orchid, tuberose, nectar, and pollen. Very gentle, very soft, very delicate notes. And it's in the base notes, it doesn't have very many middle notes, but the base notes are of an oriental fragrance, and it's classified as it's very seductive independently, but it has an oriental flair to it, which gives it a twist of sensitivity and gentleness and of the Orient. Anyways, you compare these here two together again. I would apply the harder one to my lower extremities in the same location I indicated before, and I will apply the softer one to my upper extremities in the same location I indicated before. That's because you're going to get an elevation of both floors of these particular fragrances, and when you take into consideration of both of them being consolidated together, it gives it such a wonderful, beautiful uniqueness that's very highly admirable. It's very appealing. Yes, I love it. So you take these two right here. If you don't have these fragrances, you select your most prominent fragrances that you feel that will give you the strength, the boldness, and endurance from one fragrance, and you find your most durable fragrance that you feel will give you the gentleness, the softness, and the sweetness from another fragrance, and consolidate them and determine exactly what type of fragrance you have originated and whether or not you find it admirable. But these two I highly recommend as consolidation together. Okay, and moving on to my next particular fragrance that I would like to recommend to you, that I consider to be very blendable. Blending fragrances are a beautiful thing. You're getting the strength, the endurance, the gentleness, the sweetness, the lovableness of two fragrances consolidated together that gives you that appreciation. And the most important aspect of all of this is the fact that you're trying to extend the longevity of your fragrances when you're out, so you can feel comfortable knowing that you have the assurance that your fragrances are not letting you down, honey. You are going to be a sweet pea all day long. Okay, the next ones that I have available to you are, honey, you know how I feel about this one. Yeah. You ready to go to concert? No. This right here happens to Marc Jacob Dickinson. Honey, you know how I feel about this. I have expressed it so many times. Marc Jacob Dickinson, it is definitely a very earthy, garden, sensual, bold strength to this fragrance. Honey, you have some endurance with this particular fragrance here. But what we want to do with this right here, we already know what we're working with, so we want to soften that a little bit. But I'm going to introduce you to a fragrance today, honey. I know you probably, I think this here happens to be a dupe. It's a dupe. I think it's Chloe Lovely, but the name of it on here happens to be Lovely Life. If you've ever heard of it, please shoot me a comment in reference to exactly what I'm working with right here. But honey, when I open this bottle, it is so attractive. This fragrance here is very, oh God, elegance in a bottle. It's almost up there with Mr. Narcisco. Yes, but it's a lot softer. It also has like a little hint of powderiness to it. But it's so delicate. Honey, I want you to know it's just so feminine, so soft. Not like Parada candy or anything. It's not that sweet, but it does have some sweetness to it. But when you take in a comparison of these two particular fragrances right here, Marc Jacobs Dickinson, you're going to recognize that you're dealing with a woody floral musk. And the top of woody floral musk, when you're dealing with this particular fragrance here and you're applying it and you have an inquiry of exactly as to whether or not you feel that it's what type of aroma it's projecting, trust me, you are going to recognize immediately like this has woody, floral, musk accents in it, definitely, because that's why it says so earthy, it's so forestry, because you can smell all of those. There are green notes in here. The top notes are Italian plum, saffron, and iris within Mr. Marc Jacobs Dickinson here, and the middle notes of Bulgarian rose, sackback, jasmine, and ores of the heart. Yes, and the base notes are warm liquid amber, vetiver, and papyrus wood. Definitely, honey, when I say it smells forestry, that's why. It has some strong wooded base in here. But honey, this one right here, I want you to know, this here is a dupe of Chloe Lovely, but I had to investigate this one here and do some research, deep research on this particular this particular fragrance right here. It's in a lovely, feminine, elegant container. But honey, the scent is so lovely and so attractive. Trust me, you would definitely love this one. This lovely, I'm going to say it may also be by Estara, because of the fact that they carry the same name. But I much prefer to, I perceive that it's a dupe of Chloe, or it's a dupe of Estara. In other words, also the fragrance consists of excessive floral notes, and it has some honeysuckle in it, and it has very light musk within it. In other words, it comes to a very light scent. But when you take this particular Marc Jacobs Dickinson and you apply it to your lower extremities in the same locations I've indicated before, and you take this one and apply it to your top extremities in the same locations I've indicated before, you will discover that these particular fragrances are very wonderful combination that'll give you a very affluent, distinctive aroma that you will find exquisite and very loving and appreciative. And please, if you don't have these two particular fragrances to consolidate, consider attaining them and try it. And not just these two, but that applies to all of them that I've exposed to you today. And I want you to know that I hope that you have enjoyed this particular video, and I hope you find that it's beneficial. And I thank you very much for your time and listening and tuning in to my channel. But please remember to subscribe and shoot me some comments. I'd love to chat with you, girl, a guy, anyone that really are interested in blending fragrances and have any inquiries or concerns in reference to it, or would like to attain any of these fragrances, or have any inquiries of where you can attain them, please come in on my channel and we can discuss it. And I really appreciate you tuning in tonight, and you have a wonderful evening. Bye.